Hello and welcome to this week's episode of The Shooting Show. On this week's episode we're joined by Mark Ripley as he gets to grips with some foxes and gives us some top tips ahead of a busy lambing season. Next up we join Chris and his mate Darren as they head up to the Lake District because they've got their eyes set on some red deer and some roe on the Greythwaite Estate.
Okay, so it's a bit of a iffy afternoon. We're over in the lakes at Greythwaite with Darren. Good friend of mine, I've only got one and he's it. And this is sort of Darryl Stokes on here, so we've come out with him this afternoon. Just going to go and have a look in these oak woods behind us. What do you reckon then, roe and red in here?
Roe and red, yeah, we've seen quite a few. I've had the ground for about 6 months now. Got syndicate on here, 6 men. Two stalking this side on that side. But yeah, there's a lot of roe.
So the reason I'm here is just because you can't find any deer, so we've got to go and find one. Show you how to do it.
We shouted you in to help.
Well, probably,
yeah,
probably crash and burn then in a minute.
Yeah, there's the keeper's pen here. There's a game shoot, Greythwaite Estate game shoot here called Dale Park. It's quite famous around the area. Some high birds come off.
They like shooting birds off there.
We've shot it a couple of times last couple of years. Really good. I'm going to have up to a clear fell there. Maybe we'll go and have a walk, see what's there.
Good. Let's do it. Do you reckon on the track or can we cut across that way? Can we get over that way? Wind's alright. See the cliff off from up there. We're going to have a look anyway.
Yeah, the end of the path opens up there and it's like the arse.
Not seeing a lot of deer evidence here. There's not many deer using this. Is that again?
Did you say?
There's we've got a clear fell site and you've got kind of a forward track here. You'd have deer using this to cross and move up and down. There's very little evidence of any deer movement on here in the wet, and I'd expect to be seeing that. So for whatever reason at the moment there's not a lot of deer feeding on here. But what I suspect is that there's some thick conifers behind us here. Any deer will lie up in there where it's been sheltered, and it's away from the footpath, which are quite well used. So I reckon the best chance we've got is just drifting along the edge of that. We've probably got about half an hour of light. Reds are buggers in these environments where there's a lot of public access for coming out last thing at night. So my gut feeling would be to just drift along the edge of that thick block.
Yeah, if we carry on this path, it's actually back to the road, so it's, like I say, it's 30 minutes after.
So we've no luck on the high ground, and the estate had briefed us to look at and concentrate on a regeneration site, but with Darren due to head off before lunch and with a weather front coming in, a real storm, we were certainly at Last Chance Saloon.
Hello. It is a weekend of transition as far as the weather's concerned, from the frequent bouts of wind and rain that we've seen recently to colder but also fairly showery weather coming from the north and northwest. But we start the weekend with another bout of wet and windy weather on Friday night and into Saturday. So it's a thoroughly wet start, and you can see where the rainfall is heaviest. It's North Wales and Cumbria where we'll see the very wettest conditions.
So I reckon there's some hinds and calves out on those fields at the other side of there. So with the wind, I reckon if we get in here, we can maybe get them just drifting into the trees on that edge.
Yeah, I've seen them as we drove past.
There was some, last time we were here, there was some row down in the bottom corner as well. So
Yeah, up on the hill there as well, there's some road, but
that rain stopped, so we might get a bit better prospects anyway without that bloody rain. So, got a really nice roebuck. It's probably going to make a medal. Just on the right, I can't see a doe with it though, so just going to give it a minute or two. It's possible there's a doe somewhere that I've not seen. It's a cracking roebuck. Okay, so see it? I can't see it. Right, it's just really nice. It's like a clean make a medal. 50, right, 50, 60 yards. Is it two? God, that's a two. One of them's a door then. See, it's arse there. Got it.
it's fucked in it.
Right, we just better go walk past that. There's two, there's three. Fucking hell. Right, now. Oh, yeah, going through there, the fucking hell, they're flagging it past. Careful there. How'd it gone? Fuck. Should have been more careful. Stops. Yeah, well done. Yeah, see him.
Yep.
Good. Well done. Just in that little hollow there. Just see.
Thank you.
spike, I want to.
Yeah, it's just a crappy coal stag. Well done.
Chain, guys.
Well done.
Yeah, cheers, Chris.
Nice shot. Next shot. Good one. I mean, he asked us this morning to concentrate in here anyway, because you can see they're gonna beef it up and replant in here. So I said if we young kind of crappy little stags to shoot. We just got to work out now to extraction, which we can.
A bit of a bog, isn't it?
It's terrible, isn't it? Wet.
Yeah.
I don't want to drag it through all that rubbish. I think I'll get some weight out of this.
Well, successful stretch. Breakfast now.
You sent George a pic?
Yeah.
You sent him one?
Yeah, and the location.
Slippy? Right, we're going to...
We picked the last one up, threw it over.
What do we have to do that? So a good result for us in the end. We were very lucky with a weather window of about an hour just after first light, so we got our stag. Darren got home in good time, and the estate staff very kindly offered to come out with the ATV and collect the deer for us, so there was no dragging involved, so that was definitely a good result.
A great result for the guys there. As farmers up and down the country prepare for a very busy lambing season, Mark Ripley is out with some more fox in action and some top tips for predator control.
Right, so with the lambing season just around the corner, I'm going to be out this evening just having a little tootle around a couple of my usual foxing permissions. Now, what I thought I'd do this evening is just do a very kind of bog standard, this is what I normally do kind of foxing outing. So I'm going to be using all the gear I normally use, same rifle, same scope, same spotter, everything that I would normally use on a day-to-day basis. And I thought I'd just take you out with me, and we'll just take the rough with the smooth and see exactly what happens. It's not windy this evening either, which is nice, especially if you're using a small calibre such as a 223 like I've got with me tonight. I'm only using a 53 grain bullet in that, and sometimes, particularly when you're shooting up on the open hills, that wind up on there can quite easily push a small bullet off course. So, but I think probably on the ground that I'm shooting this evening, shots will be fairly close. Normally end up with sort of shots 100, 150 yards, so that should be perfectly adequate. 223 for tonight's antics. First farm we're going to have a look around this evening is a small sheep farm. This farm sits between two housing estates with a railway line at the back and the main road and some more houses on the other side. This tends to be quite busy for foxes. They tend to trek across between the housing estates, straight across the farm. So there's a pretty good chance we find something down there. I had a look down there last week. I shot 4 on there and saw 1 more in about 2, maybe 3 hours. So yeah, we're sort of standing a pretty good chance of knocking something over there, and if not, then I've got a couple of other places that I could do with them a little look around as well, just to keep on top of things. The rifle I'm using tonight is originally was a Ticker T3 Light, and that's been customised. It's got a Macmillan Hunter stock on there, and had the barrel shortened. It's all been cerakoted, bolt fluted, and a few other little fancy modifications to it. It shoots very nicely. And sat on that, I've got the Infrared TH50 thermal scope. This is a really nice scope. This is probably my favourite thermal scope well, it is my favourite thermal scope on the market. MAE T12 Scout moderator on the end there, and I'm shooting Federal 53 grain ammunition. I'd normally use Hornady, but my local shop didn't have any, so I had to resort to using Federal, which are a little bit slower, but they still do the job, still pretty accurate rounds. And I'm using the pulsar mergers as a spotter, and I'm also using the Recon tripod. That's the gear that I would normally take out with me pretty much whenever I'm out foxing. So usually I'll be out and about a bit earlier than this. It's about 9:30 now. I'll normally be out about 7:30, 8 o'clock. So a bit of a shorter night tonight. So I've just got down to the farm now. It's quite a long drive up to the car park at the end, but quite often we'll see foxes out in these fields either side of this drive. In fact, last year I came down the drive and there was a couple of foxes tied right in the middle of the driveway. I did try and put my foot down, but they were quicker than what I was. Right, I'll park here and go and have a look. Okay, so as you can see, thermal's very sharp this evening. Nice clear night, and I can't see anything out and about just yet. So we'll walk down and have a look on the backfields. That's usually the best place to have a look. Right, so the first thing I'm going to do is just quickly adjust the legs of the Recon tripod. If I get it to about the right height for me, then it just means if I spot something out in the field, I haven't got to faff around getting the right height. I can just plonk it down and shoot straight off of it. Okay, so a lot of people, when they use these, they tend to have them too high. They tend to be shooting right up here with them. You're actually better off having that roughly, so the stock of the rifle is kind of in your solar plexus. Even that now is still a little bit on the high side. That way you tend to lean into the tripod and put a bit more weight on it, and you're a bit more stable. The other thing I tend to do as well is just use the main like knob on the side here, just to adjust the tripod and the clamp, and I have one above the other on that side, so I can just drop the rifle straight in, clamp it down, and then I've got all the movement I need just on that one adjustment there. Right, so I'll just put the magazine in the rifle and fire the scope up. That's lovely and sharp. In fact, I'll just quickly record a little bit of footage so you can see just how sharp this is. That's lovely and sharp. Right. Let's go and have a look. Right, so this is the first field, and there doesn't seem to be any foxes out and about at the moment, but it's usually quite a good field, this one. There's some livestock down that bottom corner, so I think I'm just going to head down to there and just stand and have a look over them for a little while, because as a rule of thumb, wherever you've got livestock on a farm, foxes tend to be drawn to them, so there's a good chance something might wander over towards them if we go and wait down there. So the first thing you notice I've done is I've picked a point where I've got a good sort of field of view around me. I can see over about three fields and the bottom corner of this one, but I've put myself with a tree right behind me, because although it is pretty dark this evening, we've still got sort of a half moon, so there is a little bit of light, and there's quite a lot of ambient light as well, light pollution from the houses and factory units around me, so the sky's quite light, even though the camera's probably not picking that up, so I don't want my silhouette sort of visible too much to anything that could potentially be around me. So I'm going to give it half hour, just stood here and just see if anything comes across these fields here, and if I don't see anything in that time, then I'll just move on and have a look elsewhere. I'm just banging on about how good it was being a cold evening for the thermal and that, but 10 minutes in, my hands have gone numb. Right, wind's starting to pick up a bit now as well. It's kind of blowing down the field, down towards the area where I've got the best chance of seeing a fox. But I think I'll head up to the top part of the farm. I'll just give it a quick squeak here before I go. Sometimes having a little squeak if you've got a fox just laid up in cover somewhere, or just mooching around a little bit further out behind them bushes and that, behind a hedge, you give a little squeak. Sometimes you pull something in. One come out the hedge down the bottom here. He's about 175 metres at the moment. Just sat down there, so I'm going to just see if I can walk out a little bit closer. Right. Right, let's have a look from here. So it's about 130 metres. Yeah, I'll take him. good. That was a bit of a tricky shot, because when they sit like chest on like that, it doesn't give you much of a target. But no, I managed to get a good steady rest, and I came forward that little bit more just to give me a better chance at it. But yeah, went straight over. But it's worth just having a little call like that. As you see there was just one laid up in the cover, and that little squeak brought him out. Whereas if I hadn't bothered, he would have just sat there. Well, never even known he was there. You also notice when I was scanning around, although I knew that fox was sat there and I was squeaking, I kept looking around me with the thermal, because there's been quite a few times where I've seen one fox been so focused on that squeaking, trying to pull it in, and then you look around and there's one 30 yards away from you or just behind you or something. So it's always worth having a little look round as you call him. Right, we've got another one here. And this one's just trekking across the field. Over the back there is quite a long way off. Can't see which way he's going at the moment. Looks like he's heading out towards the livestock, so. But there's probably not much chance of getting onto that one. I'll try giving him a squeak just in case. So that one was probably a bit too far away to either hear the call or just wasn't interested, but he started going to the left towards the sheep and that, and then turned around and went running back the other way. So I don't know what he was up to, but he's not coming in anyway, I don't think. So oh, he's back out again. But that's quite a long way out, so by the time I walked all the way around through these sheep and across that field to get to where he is, he would have moved on, I think. Well, that fox has clearly moved on, so walk down the bottom of this field, hop over the hedge and pick that one up, and then probably walk back up to the farmyard and have a little look up there. Right, okay, there he is. He's very dead. And there's a dog fox. Yep, and there, straight in the chest. Right, well, it's a little bit quiet down here, so I'll walk back up to the farm, see if we bump into anything on the way, and then if not, we'll either have a look over the other side of the farm, or we'll toodle off down to another bit of ground. Right, so I saw another one just behind the farm here on the footpath, but I didn't have a safe shot on that because that would have been shooting straight back down towards the houses at the bottom of the road, so I had to pass that shot up. So yeah, other than the one I saw in the distance and the one I shot, that's 3 foxes I've seen this evening for probably about 3 hours out, so definitely knocked the numbers down from last time. But anyway, I hope the episode's been enjoyable, and you managed to pick up a couple of little tips and tricks and have a look at the gear and that I normally use. So thanks for watching, and please subscribe.
Some great stuff from Mark there, and we'll be joining him in the next couple of weeks with some more airgun in action. Sadly, that's all we've got time for on this week's episode of The Shooting Show. Make sure you like and subscribe for more videos, and if you're not a member of BASC, now's the time to join. My name's Chris Castle, and this has been The Shooting Show.
If you aren't a member of BASC, it's time to join now. BASC, looking after your sport, looking after you.